Good evening. Tonight's Committee of Adjustment hearing is being held by video conference and live streaming video on the town's live stream webpage at oakville.ca. This is a hearing to consider applications for minor variance and consents held under the authority of the Planning Act. Please keep in mind the intent of this process is to review the application that is before the committee, listen to the evidence, and then make a decision. This process is not intended to be used to resolve any comments, concerns, or disputes that may exist between town, individuals, or organizations. If a request for a deferral is made and the committee grants such a request, the applicant or authorized agent must contact the Secretary-Treasurer to schedule a new hearing date. In order to conduct an effective and efficient electronic hearing, we have adopted the following process. If you are watching the live stream of this hearing on oakville.ca and you wish to speak to a matter on the agenda, you can call 905-815-6095. Again, the number is 905-815-6095. The phone number will also be posted on the screen below the live stream page at oakville.ca. Staff will be standing by to take your call. When you call in, staff will ask for your name, item number that you wish to address, and your telephone number. Further instructions will be provided for you to call to join the video conference, and when the chair of the committee polls for interested parties, please press *6 to unmute yourself. The applicant or agent will be then given an opportunity to briefly explain to the committee the basis of the application and answer any questions that may arise. A maximum of 5 minutes will be provided for that presentation. You will state your full name and address for the record, and any submissions beyond the 5 minutes will be at the discretion of the committee. All delegations must also state their full name and address for the record, and a maximum of 5 minutes will be made for each presentation. All remarks and questions are to be directed to the chair, and any submissions beyond the 5 minutes will be at the discretion of the committee. The applicant agent will then be provided with a further 5 minutes to respond to comments made by interested parties, answer any questions that may arise from committee members, and if the applicant or agent has any concerns found in staff report, particularly with the proposed conditions, at this time, it will be the opportunity to advise us. The matter will then be taken into committee for a decision, and this marks the end of all discussions. Any person desiring a notice of the decision for an application must provide a written request, preferably through email, to the Secretary-Treasurer. Written notice of the committee's decision will be mailed no later than 10 days for minor variance and 15 days for consent to application to the applicant, agent, or any other person who has filed a written request for such notice. The last day to appeal the decision of the Ontario Land Tribunal will be noted on the decision. Please note that only the applicant, specified persons, and public bodies may appeal the committee's decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal. In November of 2022, Bill 23 legislation, the More Homes Built Faster Act, amended the Planning Act to remove appeal rights for members of the public. If no appeal is received within the prescribed timeframe, the decision of the committee becomes final and binding, and the Secretary-Treasurer will then notify the applicant and anyone who has received a copy of the decision through written correspondence. People participating in this hearing are due to be courteous and respectful of the members of the committee, town staff, and other people participating in this electronic hearing. Tonight's electronic hearing is being video recorded and available for further viewing at oakville.ca. Thank you. There are no regrets this evening. Do I have any declarations of peculiar interests? None. Thank you. Madam Secretary Treasurer, are there any requests for deferrals or withdrawals of applications? If you're in the audience and you wish to defer an application, please raise your hand and the Secretary Treasurer will invite you in to speak.
No, Madam Chair, I don't see any hands up at this time.
Very well. We have no consent applications, and the first item on our agenda is application 121 of 2025 at 2061 Lakeshore Road East. Again, that's application 121 of 2025 at 2061 Lakeshore Road East. I have Lauren Boyer here as the architect and agent.
Apologies there, I was on mute. Uh, Good evening, Chair and committee members. Am I able to jump right into my presentation?
Yes, go ahead.
My name is Lauren Boyer, and I reside at 3378 Guildwood Drive in Burlington. I am the architect and agent for the property owners at 2061 Lakeshore Road East, and will be speaking on behalf of them this evening. My client is looking to build a new home. Next slide, please. Which is accessed from Waldbrook Drive, which is a private laneway on the north side of Lakeshore Road. Utility services to the lot were installed under the laneway in spring 2025, and they've received Halton Region sign-off later this summer. Next slide, please. The proposed development includes a 1.5-story dwelling, attached garages, a porte cochere, and a screened porch, and a detached accessory building. The dwelling complies with lot coverage, floor area ratio, and height, but requires relief from the zoning bylaw for 7 variances relating to front yard setbacks, building depth, the number, size, and location of its attached garages, and for the height of an accessory building. Next slide, please. Speaking to the first variance, it's to increase the maximum number of attached private garages to 4, where a maximum of 1 attached garage is permitted. To accommodate the owner's storage needs, 2 attached garages are proposed, plus an additional attached shed to store a lawn tractor. From a zoning perspective, the porte cochere is also considered a garage, bringing the total to 4. The lot size can support a building with the additional garage space at grade, and for an older couple who's looking to settle here long term, the additional garage space at grade versus in the basement is ideal. Next slide, please. The house is comprised of a series of smaller A-frame components, which add interest and character to the streetscape. To minimize the scale of the house, the parking and storage requirements have been divided into separate building elements. Despite having 3 attached garages, none of the garage doors are immediately visible from the street, and instead the streetscape is animated with windows and gables. Next slide, please. The porte cochere, which is considered a garage from a zoning perspective, creates a screened threshold into a motor court, which is also screened from the street by existing and proposed vegetation and bushes. Next slide. The next variance is to increase the maximum total floor area of a private garage to 85 square meters, where a maximum of 56 square meters is permitted. Reiterating the previous point, additional storage at grade versus in the basement is ideal for the homeowners, as the basement will be predominantly crawl space. The intent of this bylaw is to discourage streetscapes which are dominated by garage doors or garage uses, and this is not the case for our proposed front elevation, where no garage door is immediately visible from the street. Next slide, please. That's the view of our front elevation there. Next slide. The next variance is to increase the maximum projection of an attached garage to 15 meters, where the maximum projection permitted from the face of the longest portion of the main wall is 1.5 meters. The intent of this bylaw is to deter house designs where their streetscapes put emphasis or feel dominated by garage uses. And again, just to reiterate, this is not the case for our proposal, where the garage wing and porte cochere extend into the front yard to screen and mask any indication of garage use along the front facade. No garage door is immediately visible from the street, and the orientation of the house and the use of existing mature vegetation helps screen the motor court. Next slide, please. This slide just shows the 15-meter extension from the main wall. Next slide. The next variance is to increase the maximum dwelling depth to 42 meters, where 20 meters is permitted. The lot is significant in size, and because of the large footprint to work with, the conventional rectangular floor plan was replaced with an irregular shape, with a central spine that has 1-story branches that extend out for reasons tied to both function and form. The garage extends into the front yard to screen the motor court and provide additional security. The bedroom wing extends into the rear yard to maximize daylight and views from every bedroom. And the extension in the rear yard aligns with the rear yard setback of the original house. The outdoor screen porch extends into the rear yard as well to enjoy views to both the tennis court and the pool, while minimizing any obstructions to views and daylights from the kitchen, dining, and living room. The majority of the building's width is compliant in depth, and the variance of 42 meters is tied to a very narrow segment of floor area that extends into both the front and rear yard, but is less than 6.5 meters in width. This narrow branch of house is located centrally on the lot and well screened by existing vegetation along both lot lines. Next slide, please. The next variance is to reduce the minimum front yard to 17 meters, where a minimum front yard setback of 37.66 is permitted. The required front yard setback is calculated as the setback to the existing house, which has been demolished, plus 1 meter, which for this lot would be 37.66 meters. The purpose of the zoning condition is to encourage new development that is situated on a lot that is consistent with its existing character and neighboring houses. When referencing the site plan, you will see that the siting of the proposed house is aligned on the lot in a way that's consistent with its neighboring property to the north, with the bulk of the house aligning with the front and rear walls of the neighboring house. The projection towards the front lot line is small in scale at 6.25 meters wide and adds character to the front facade. This narrow projection, which is 17 meters from the front lot line, if the original house on the property was demolished a couple months earlier, then the 10-meter setback would apply, which would make this proposal compliant with setback requirements. Next slide, please. And for reference, other structures along the laneway are situated closer to the laneway lot line. The house across the street is about 15 meters from the front lot line, with other structures or accessory buildings even closer. These are estimates based on GIS mapping available. Next slide, please. The next variance is to reduce the main wall proportionality to 12.5%, where a minimum of 50% of the length of all main walls are required to be located in the area defined as the minimum maximum front yard. If the front yard setback of 17 meters were to be granted for the porte cochere and garage bay, then 17 meters would be considered the front yard setback, and the maximum front yard setback would be 22.5 meters. In this scenario, only the lawn tractor shed walls would fall within this zone, which would be 12.5% of the main walls. The bylaw requires that 50% of these front-facing walls fall within this zone. The intent of this requirement is to promote consistency in building location on a site and distance from the street. When you compare our proposal to the neighboring house to the north, the majority of the front walls and rear walls are consistent in their distance from both the front and rear lot lines. Next slide, please. And the final variance is to increase the maximum height for an accessory building or structure to 6 meters, where a maximum of 4 meters is permitted. Next slide. Excuse me. The height of an accessory structure is measured to the ridge of a hipped roof, so the impact of the additional height is minimized by the shape of the roof line. The accessory building is located centrally on the lot, and will not contribute to any shadows on neighboring lots, given that it is over 20 meters away from the nearest lot line. Next slide. It's just another view of the accessory building. Next slide, please. To conclude, we've communicated with neighbors regarding the variances requested and have received 2 letters of support, one from the neighbor immediately to the north at 2059 Lakeshore Road East, and another at 110 Blythe Crescent, which is adjacent to the rear lot line of the subject property. Next slide, please. To conclude, we've communicated with neighbors regarding the variances requested and have received to conclude this presentation, there are additional slides which include floor plans, elevation, survey, and tree protection plans, should we need to reference them for further discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Boyer. Any questions or items of clarification of the agents at this time? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Dickey.
Sorry. Just one thing, just to explain something to me. You mentioned that had you demolished the building 2 months earlier, your front yard setback would have been something different. Why is that? Or I'm not questioning it. I'm just trying to understand something for future.
So the date that the current bylaw was enacted, I think was at, for instance, April. I don't know the year, but we went through this with the zoning examiner. And we had to go and confirm the date that that house had, it actually went down with a fire. So it actually was burnt down before the date the new bylaw was enacted. But because by the time the permit to demolish had been closed, it was after the date the new bylaw had been approved. So the setback, instead of the 10-meter setback, it would be the distance to the existing building plus 1 meter.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, I see none. Has anyone called with interest for this application, or Secretary Treasurer?
No, Madam Chair, there have been no calls and I don't see any hands up.
Okay, very well. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Ms. Price.
Taking into consideration the submissions of the agent, staff, and the pre-consultation report and letters of support, I believe the variances to be minor in nature and in our keeping with the general intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw and desirable for the appropriate development of the land. The application appears to meet the 4 tests. In conclusion, I recommend the application be approved, subject to the following conditions: that the dwelling be constructed in general accordance with the submitted site plan dated July 25th, 2025, and the submitted elevation plans dated July 15th, 2025, and that the approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision if a building permit has not been issued for the proposed construction.
Thank you, Ms. Price. Is there a discussion on this recommendation? Okay, I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved, none opposed.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Have a good night. Okay. Application 127 at 1075 North Service Road West. Again, that's application 127 of 2025 at 1075 North Service Road West. I have Jeff Kenny here as the agent.
Good evening, members of the committee, Madam Chair, members of public. I prepared a short presentation here and will run my own clock, keep this within 5 minutes. Again, my name is Jeff Kenny. I'm a planner and partner with Strategy for Development Consultants. Address for the record is 2620 Bristol Circle, unit number 100 in Oakville. This application for minor variance is on behalf of family doctor Alkesh Patel and his clinic Ringside MD. Next slide, please. So this application for minor variance requests relief of table 10.2, row 31, column E, outside storage not permitted in an E1 zone. The specific wording of our variance is to permit the outside storage of a liquid oxygen tank and related equipment accessory to a medical office, which is to be located within units 18 and 19. Next slide, please. The proposed business use is a medical office, which is permitted as of right in the Business Employment OP designation and E1 zoning designation. Dr. Patel's practice is in family medicine, and he is one of 5 family physicians. His current clinic is located at Sutton and Dundas, and this will be an expansion. The liquid oxygen tank is being placed for the purpose of a hyperbaric wound treatment clinic. And you can see some of the services offered, by their family medicine practice. I won't dwell on these. Next slide, please. A little bit about hyperbaric chamber treatment therapy. It's essentially where a person breathes 100% oxygen in a specialized chamber, which is located within the fully enclosed building at a higher pressure than normal air. And the purpose is to speed healing of internal and external health issues. The proposed tank is compliant with all Canadian Standards Association standards, national fire prevention codes, as well as local fire and medical gas codes. Oxygen is delivered to the chamber inside the clinic through hard pipe medical gas lines and never stored or handled in a portable form. Next slide, please. So this slide relates to our sort of discussion with the town prior to submitting. We had a disagreement with respect to the tank being outdoor storage. I'm not going to dwell on this because ultimately, whether we differ in opinion, the town has deemed that they require a variance to permit the placement of the tank. So next slide, please. So this is the proposed site plan, and we've highlighted the proposed location of the liquid oxygen tank. There's a detail in the lower right. It will dwell with its associated equipment within a fenced-in compound on a concrete pad protected by bollards. Now, if one evaluates the installation as outdoor storage, the pertinent regulations that would apply would be that it's within an interior side or rear yard, subject to a 3.5 meter lot line setback, not permitted abutting residential, institutional, or commercial zone boundaries. And in an E2 zone, this is critical to why we believe this is minor in nature and how we've structured our proposal. Maximum height is to be equal to the height of the tallest building on site. So if this were in an E2 zone, the placement of the tank and associated equipment would comply with all regulations. Next slide, please. So the site provides 225 parking spaces, whereas 216 are required. The 3,000 liter tank was selected rather than the 6,000. And again, this is really important because the 6,000 liter tank would be taller than the principal building. So you can see that we've selected and encouraged our client to go with a lower height tank, approximately 4.5 meters. You can see it as it relates to the principal building. Next slide. So these are the 4 tests that you all know. I have 1 minute left, so I'll skip this for time. Next slide. So the subject site is designated business employment to provide for a wide range of uses. This is in the official plan, of course. Business employment areas are intended to be predominantly within enclosed buildings, providing for light office and light service and industrial operations with minimal impacts to surrounding areas. The proposed business use, the medical office, is permitted as of right. The OP says that outdoor storage may be permitted on a limited basis, but subject to the bylaw and being adequately screened. The general policies of the OP also call for the establishment of uses that serve the social, physical welfare of the community. And that's for that reason, we believe the intent and purpose of the OP are maintained. Next slide, please. From a zoning perspective, we've covered the fact that the tank would comply with all outdoor storage regulations if it were in an E2 zone. We're in an E1 where it's not permitted, so we require relief. The tank is screened from the public realm by the principal building on site, as well as from residences to the north. You can see I took a trip down Indian Trail to photograph the building from the trail. You can see that photo on the right. All of the operations of the proposed medical office, as well as the servicing of the tank, will occur during normal daylight business hours. And for this reason, we feel the intent and purpose of the bylaw are maintained. Next slide, please. So in conclusion, we feel the placement of the proposed tank and associated equipment have been demonstrated as upholding the intent and purpose of the official plan and zoning bylaw. And so the equipment can be deemed as appropriate in nature. It has also been demonstrated that the height is appropriate, adequately screened from both public and private realms, and will operate and be serviced during normal daytime business hours. And for that reason, we feel it can be considered minor in nature. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny. Any questions of the applicant or agent at this time? Go ahead, Mr. Hardcastle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I note that in the staff report, staff speak to noise and the minimal nature of the noise. You know, in sort of assessing and looking at the potential impacts of this, I'd like to understand and wonder whether you're in a position to assist in understanding the regulatory environment around safety for having such a large volume of a combustible flammable material on site.
Sure. So is through you, Madam Chair, to Member Hardcastle, is the question with respect to noise or is it with respect to safety?
Sorry, I was using that as a step in terms of, well, staff spoke to the noise. I don't see anything that assists me in understanding the regulatory environment and measures that would be undertaken in order to ensure safety, given that sensitive land uses are located within approximately 70 meters of the storage.
Yeah, absolutely. I can speak to that through you, Madam Chair, to Member Hardcastle. So firstly, the tank is located within a fenced-in compound that's protected by concrete encased bollards. It is serviced by a tanker truck. And so having that protection is key with respect to nothing interfering with the tank. Now, in the unlikely event that during a fill, the tank is hit or liquid oxygen begins to be released from the tank into the outdoor environment. We did consult with the manufacturer and supplier, who are called Messer, and we understand that there is a series of valves that will be triggered automatically via silent alarm. So these valves and alarm come with the unit, and this would automatically shut down both the filling of the tank as well as the distribution of gas, liquid oxygen gas, to the inside of the building. So any interruption or compromising of the tank during whether it be routine chamber treatment or during the filling would cause a ceasing of operations of the tank. There, it is fitted with an automated kill switch.
Any other questions or items of clarification?
Madam Chair, if I might carry on with, I have an additional question of staff.
Sure, go ahead.
I was looking to understand what a note to file means.
Yeah.
Through the chair, to the member, a note to file is a form of site plan application by which staff will circulate and review for comment to a wide variety of staff. It's typically like a minor type of application in terms of the impact, and it's to keep a record of what has been approved on the site. So as part of the review, we will confirm that they will install bollards and other fencing to the town specifications, for example.
Okay. Any further questions or items of clarification? Has anyone called with interest for this application, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
No, Madam Chair, there have been no calls and no one has their hand up.
Okay, very well. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Mr. Hardcastle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Having undertaken my site visit, having reviewed the materials, including the written staff report, the presentation by Mr. Kenny, and the responses by both staff and Mr. Kenny, I am satisfied that the requested variance conforms to the four tests of the Act, and that town staff will be undertaking appropriate measures to ensure the note to staff, et cetera, to file, as well as regulatory requirements would be put in place to ensure that that the variance would not result in any negative impacts. So I'll put forward a motion of approval subject to the identified two conditions, those being that a note to file be approved for the proposed development and that the approval will expire within 2 years of the date of the decision if a permit has not been issued. Yes, I see a hand up.
Through you, Madam Chair, there's also the condition that we seek no objections letter from Conservation Halton, and just wanted to acknowledge that we accept that.
Very well, thank you. Is there a discussion on this recommendation? Okay, I see none. All those in support? Okay. All right, the application has been approved, none opposed.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thanks. Good night. Okay. Application 128 of 2025 at 2081 Salmon Road. Again, that's application 128 of 2025 at 2081 Salmon Road. I have a request to attend from Marcelino Perez and Julianne Trenko, and they recognize a letter of objection from Arvinder Sharma. Go ahead, Mr. Dome.
Hi, good evening. Joe Dome, 133 Torresdale Avenue, agent for the owner. The owner would like to construct a new two-story dwelling with two variances requested. We have gone through the pre-consultation process with staff and have made the necessary revisions based on their recommendations. And as per the staff report, they have no concerns with the application. And I'd begin by highlighting that for variance number one, the proposed garage area of 56 square meters, the additional portion of the garage area was designed to not be visible from the streetscape and is set back 5.02 meters from the west side lot line. The garage will appear as a two-car garage from the street, and the garage actually at its closest point is located 1.63 meter setback from the west side lot line, which is more than the bylaw minimum of 1.2 meters. Variance number two refers to the proposed lot coverage of 28.8%, and the dwelling has been sensitively designed with massing mitigation in mind and complies with the zoning bylaw for RFA, all setbacks and height. There's significant breakup of massing with articulation on all sides, and the use of different materials to ease transition between dwellings and impact the streetscape. The west side is stepped back considerably over the garage, and the east side complies with the required minimum side yard of 2.4 meters. It's at 2.5 meters for only the first 6.71 meters of that side main wall. And beyond that, the east side wall is set back an additional 1 meter on the main floor and 1.38 meters to the second floor. So the setback goes up to 3.5 meters to the main floor, to the side lot line, and 3.86 meters to the second story. I'll note that the neighboring two-story dwelling on the east side at 2075 Salmon Road is located 7.72 meters from the shared lot line. So between that and the setbacks to the proposed dwelling, there is a significant amount of space between the dwellings, further easing the transition. We have read the neighbor letter on file, and we do feel that the aforementioned features helped adequately mitigate impact. Drainage will also be addressed to the city's satisfaction at the building permit and site alt stage. It's my understanding the owner has spoken to some neighbors, and the takeaway was positive and friendly. We are aware of the letter on file and perhaps other comments. But overall, we feel the application is reasonable and minor in nature, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Is there anyone in the audience that seeks to speak to this application? And are there any questions from committee members to Mr. Dome at this time? Okay. And once again, the phone number to reach us is 905-815-6095. Staff will be standing by to take your call and provide you with further instructions to join the video conferencing. Has anyone called with interest for this application, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
Madam Chair, we don't have any calls, but we do have someone with their hand up. Marcelino Perez. I can move him in one moment.
Hello. Good evening.
Go ahead,
Madam
Mr.
Chair.
Perez.
Can you
Good
hear me?
evening. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, my main concern, or our main concern here is with the new construction is how the applicant and he is going to make sure that all his contractors are going to respect the noise, dust, and yeah, all, all the issues that are around a construction site, especially the driveways that we know for sure that they are going to be invading.
Any other concerns, or that's your main concern?
And there is a boundary tree on the front yard that we are concerned that how is it going to be protected so that it is not being damaged.
Very well. Okay. We'll get you the answers to these questions. Mr. Dome?
Yes. So as for the construction noise, everything will be done to ensure that the noise is at a reasonable level, and that would apply to any construction, even an as of right one as well. And as for the tree, the proposal will be to the city's satisfaction as far as the trees and drainage and everything along those lines.
Okay. Mr. Perez, I also urge you to look at the bylaws for the town for respecting quiet hours. And those are bylaws that the construction have to maintain and respect.
Yeah, exactly. Because what we know from experience around the neighborhood is that contractors are working even on Sundays.
Well, if they do, you
primarily.
can absolutely report it, and one of the officers will come by and make sure that that doesn't happen.
Okay, perfect.
Very good. Any
Thank you.
other questions or interested parties that would like to speak to the committee members? Madam Secretary Treasurer?
Madam Chair, there are no other hands up and no calls have come in.
Okay, we'll take the matter into committee. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Mr. Talowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I'll move that this application be approved as applied for, finding that it meets the four tests of the Planning Act. I do not believe there will be significant impact from the variances. I would note the opposition comments from the neighborhood. The caller was referencing concerns which I believe are largely, if not fully, covered by other bylaws of the town of Oakville, including the noise bylaw and the tree bylaw, which will in itself require tree protection around that boundary tree. And the letter on file reference concern for impacts to the streetscape because of the larger garage and impacts to drainage because of coverage. Madam Chair, I don't believe these are an issue with this application, given that the extra garage is in the rear. It's not 3 doors facing the street, and that whether the coverage variance was approved or not, drainage, I don't believe would be any different, given that the applicant would in all likelihood just remove the covered porch and still have a hardscape patio. So again, Madam Chair, with that said, I move approval subject to construction proceeding in general accordance with the site plan and elevation drawings dated August 11th, 2025, and that the variance expire in 2 years if a building permit has not been issued.
Thank you, Mr. Zalowski. Is there discussion on this recommendation? Okay, I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved, none opposed. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night. Application 129 of 2025 at 1247 Cumnock Crescent. Again, that's application 129 of 2025 at 1247 Cumnock Crescent. I have Mr. Jason Huther here as the agent.
Good evening, Madam Chair, committee members. Jason Heater from HDS Dwell. On behalf of my clients at 1247 Cumnock Crescent, I'm here before you seeking 3 variances related to a new replacement dwelling. If I could have slide number 3, please. Just a little bit of context. All 3 of these variances really relate to the odd and awkward nature of the footprint of this lot. You'll see that it is a full arcing frontage that wraps around Cumnock Crescent as it heads towards the intersection. The way the frontage and flankage are determined is by an extension of the street lines from Cumnock Crescent coming from both sides. They converge to a center point way off in the distance, and then that bisecting line, shown here in blue, determines where front yard is versus flankage. So you'll see at the top end there in red is the determined front yard for this property, and the green line is the flankage yard. So it's quite an odd lot in its awkward nature. So all 3 variances relate to this condition. So I'll just speak quickly on the first one. So that blue bisecting line there, if you'll just go to the next slide, please. In this image, it's the green line. There's a 4.85 meter setback to what is a U-shaped driveway. The bylaw requires 15 meters in this instance. You'll notice on the streetscape on the right-hand side, I've indicated in red where that section of driveway will be. You'll see how far away it is from the intersection of Cumnock and Cairncroft. So the idea with this setback is to prevent vehicular collision and mitigate possible interaction between vehicles. So we're located quite a distance away from both Morrison and Cairncroft. Next slide, please. Dwelling depth, again, given that the small portion on the east side, the red side, is the front yard, the dwelling depth is taken across the depth of the lot. As you drive past this, you'll actually experience the house in the reverse order, being the depth will feel like you're looking at it from the front door as it currently sits on the property. We have mitigated the depth of this house by having both flanking pieces on the east and west end, so the garage and the far office, as single-story structures. This helps bring the mass and scale of the dwelling down towards the neighboring homes. The frontage on the street on Cumnock is heavily treed, and all of that tree and all the forestry product is being maintained. So there's going to be a great amount of screening. There's very large and ample rear yard setbacks as well as front yard setbacks. And the neighbor, the existing house would currently be over the allowable bylaw, as well as the neighbor to the west. Just again, they're on the opposite side of this curving property line, and their dwelling is 31 plus meters in depth as well. If I could get the next slide. The last variance relates to main wall proportionality. So that little block in red that you see there, we're supposed to have 50% of the frontage of the house within that. Just given the orientation to the flankage yard, it's quite impossible to get that amount of frontage into that pocket of land. Never mind the fact that it would be quite obtrusive as you approach the house from that intersection. So I have read staff report. They are in agreement with or supportive of the variances. And I have read the comments, and I am good with everything that was stated. Able to take any questions whatsoever from committee or public.
Right. Any questions for Mr. Heater at this time? Okay, I see none. Has anyone called with interest for this application, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
No, Madam Chair, there have been no calls and no one has their hand up.
Very well, then we'll take the matter into committee. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Mr. Dickey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Based upon my review of the owner's application, the site plans, the building elevations, my site visit, together with the presentation by the owner's consultant and the planning staff's report, I am satisfied that the variances are minor in nature and conform to the four tests under the Planning Act. And I put forth a motion that the application as applied for be approved, subject to the condition that, that the proposed dwelling be constructed in general accordance with the submitted site plan and elevation plans dated July 31st, 2025, and that the approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision if a building permit has not been issued for the proposed construction. Thank you.
Is there a discussion on this recommendation? I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved, none opposed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Committee members, have a good evening.
Have a good evening. Okay. Application 130 of 2025 at 1089 Pearson Drive. Again, that's application 130 of 2025 at 1089 Pearson Drive.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Joris Kieran. I'm the agent for the owner.
Good evening, Mr. Kieran. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'll do a brief presentation to outline the details of this application. It's a fairly straightforward single variance application for increased floor area. And as you can see, this is a corner lot. So a little bit of extra attention was paid to the orientation of the dwelling as well as the flankage facing facade. Next slide, please. So this is the front of the dwelling, facing not Pearson, but the other one. Yeah, Leland Avenue is the other street. So this is facing Leland. We did go through the pre-consultation process with town planning staff. And as a result of that discussion, we had several adjustments that were made to the plan to address their comments and concerns. One of those was a lowering of the front door portico, which you can see on this page. So that was higher before. And there's also a fairly substantial reduction in overall floor area because the initial request was quite a bit higher. So just to let the members know about that process, and also that the ultimately staff now are supportive of the application, as is detailed in the report. Next slide, please. So this is the side facing Pearson. I call that the flankage side, and this is where the depth of the house is a little bit more visible. To help mitigate the massing, you can see we've introduced quite a bit of articulation, and the second floor is stepped back as well. So that helped to further satisfy staff in for this application. Next slide, please. And as we usually do, just to demonstrate where the RFA is going, the extra RFA, on the first floor, there is an additional bathroom that would normally not be there, but this is required by the owner for a future in-law suite on the main floor for an elderly person that wants to have main floor living options. So that's there for that reason. Next slide, please. And then on the second floor, we basically have a little bit more square footage in 3 of the bedrooms, and then also the addition of a laundry room, and that makes up the floor area increase that we're asking for. And I'm happy to answer any questions from the members if there are any.
Any questions or items of clarification at this time? Okay, I see none. Is anyone called with interest for this application, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
No, Madam Chair, there have been no calls and no one has their hand up.
Okay, thank you. Let's see who would like to move a motion. Go ahead, Ms. Price.
Taking into consideration my site visit, the submissions of the agent and staff, I believe the variances to be minor in nature and are in keeping with the general intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw and are desirable for the appropriate development of the land. The projections and recesses, as well as a variety of building materials, help to reduce the massing of the proposed dwelling, making it compliant with the 4 tests. In conclusion, I recommend the application be approved subject to the following conditions. The dwelling be constructed in general accordance with submitted site plan and elevation drawings dated August 20th, 2025, and that the approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision if a building permit has not been issued for the proposed construction.
Okay. Any discussion on this recommendation? I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved, none opposed. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chair.
you. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Have a good night. Bye.
Okay, good evening. Next application on our agenda is one that is deferred from August the 20th at 111, application 111 of 2025 at 1014 Melvin Avenue. Again, that's application 111 of 2025, deferred from August the 20th at 1014 Melvin Avenue. I have Mr. Nelson here as the applicant agent.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Yes, David Nelson, agent for the applicant. Applicant agent for the property owner, 1014 Melvin Avenue. We are here this evening as a result of a deferral on the application that was heard on the 20th of August. The issue at that point was with respect to the potential balcony over the porch on the building. We're here to speak to an increase in lot coverage from 25% to 25.42%. This increase in coverage results from an error in construction and the placement of the footing. Madam Secretary, could I have A302, please? That would be the basement floor plan. That's 202, Madam Secretary. I'm looking for 302. Beautiful. Thank you very much. And you can see from this that the footing for the bearing wall was poured in the wrong location during construction, so that increased the floor area in the basement, and that just translates right up through onto the ground floor. And if we could have a look at A30, no, have a look at A201, which I think is the rear elevation of the building. Correct. And you can see from the red cloud on here that that's where the error translates into the coverage up on the covered porch. Excuse me, the bearing wall would have been on the, looking at this picture, on the left side. And so the porch would have neatly surrounded the sliding door on the ground floor. So it is now slides to the right side of the drawing, and that is the actual increase in the lot coverage right there. The planning staff indicates that we needed to show the removal of the glass railing on the balcony, and so it in fact is not a balcony, it's just a cover over the patio. And if we could have a look at A301, which would be the second floor plan, please. And that is the drawing that shows a Juliet balcony in that area rather than a true balcony. And there is a glazing railing that covers the doorway, so there is no access to that flat roof. That's my presentation, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Any questions of Mr. Nelson at this time? Items of clarification? Go ahead, Mr. Dickey.
I'm a little confused. Maybe if we go back to those two elevations that were presented, and I'd like to zoom in because these don't look like the plans that were presented, and you didn't make that clear. If they aren't, you should have told us. The other one of the side of the house, the rear elevation, the rear wall of the house, please, Madam. No, not that one.
A201.
That one. Can you just zoom in on that in the second story there? I want to see what's there. Because that was my concern.
Yeah, go one more. You'll be able to see the writing on the wall there.
Okay, so these elevations are different than the elevations that you submitted before us 2 weeks ago, correct?
Yes, that's correct. They are done to show the removal of the glass railing because that was the issue that was raised. That glass railing indicated that it was an accessible balcony.
Can I have the date? So back in the corner, down the corner, there should be a date for this revised.
September 15th, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Can I just get an understanding of this? So you got a bill, you received a building permit, whatever, a few months ago or 6 months ago, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
And you started building, and you laid the foundation, and there was an error there, and that caused this whole problem because the lot coverage is bigger than that. So obviously, and my concern was calling this, I'm going to hide it. My concern was calling this a balcony. So obviously this is not called a balcony originally, and in the original building plans, it was as you showed in the plans of a month ago or whenever it was. And do I have that understanding correctly? Sir?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, sorry. So in the original building plans, I'm not being critical of this. I'm just trying to understand what went wrong. In the original building plans, you would have had a little railing around this, above this porch and everything. And the building department said yes to that, or didn't question it in the same manner as I did.
Right. We did show a glazed railing around that flat roof, and I had a drawing that was submitted with the building permit, but was not available to us at that committee meeting. It was the second floor plan that had much the same wording as seen in A301, the current second floor plan, that indicated that it was not a balcony, that access was not permitted, and that there was in fact a railing across the front of the sliding door. But as I said, that drawing was not available to us. I hadn't asked for it. Didn't anticipate that I would ever need it. And so we asked for a deferral in order to come back with something that we could show you. Planning staff had indicated in their report that they would like to see the glazed railing removed, so that's what we've done.
Okay. The explanation which you're providing now is much more detailed and understandable than as I recall the explanation when I challenged you a month ago. So I'm thankful for that. I'll make a comment, but just a comment. In my opinion, a Juliet balcony is on a straight wall that goes from one story to the other story. In my opinion, this is not a Juliet balcony, but I'll defer to the building department. I made that statement. Done. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Any further comments, questions, items of clarification? Okay, I see none. Let's have a motion. If no one has called in, Madam Secretary Treasurer.
No, Madam Chair, there have been no calls.
Very well. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Mr. Hardcastle.
Madam Chair, I have a few reservations with this, but I think that they can be addressed through conditioning and through the conditions that are here. Much like Member Dickey, I have some reservations about the large extent of this flat roof and the easy nature in which it's done, but it's also not necessarily our job to be enforcing and regulate, in this kind of thing. It is a building permit based issue down the road. But I do feel that the conditions with the clarity that are provided under condition 1 for the director's approval of revised elevations can alleviate at least my concerns. So with respect to the non-permitted balcony, and the fact that the variance being requested here is for coverage only and not for that permission. So I think with notation and revisions, I will be satisfied. And the actual variance that we're here to consider, I believe, is a technical matter resulting from construction activity, mistakes during construction activity, and so I feel that the requested variances conform to the 4 tests of the Act. I will put forward a motion of approval. That motion of approval will be subject to 2 conditions as stated by staff, those being that the dwelling be constructed in general accordance with the submitted site plan dated July 7th, 2025. And elevation drawings subject to the removal of the guardrail along the perimeter of the roof over the rear covered porch to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning and Development, and that the approval will expire within 2 years of the date of the decision if a permit has not been issued. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hardcastle. Is there a discussion on this recommendation? Seeing none, all those in support? Okay, the application has been approved, none opposed.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Confirmation for meeting on September the 3rd. Thank you, Mr. Hardcastle. And motion to adjourn. Thank you, Mr. Hardcastle. And we are adjourned at 8:03 p.m.